There is one solace that I took away from episode 2, and that's the fact that Jar Jar Binks isn't in the film that much. Thank God for that. Good call, George. But in that short amount of screen time he was given, he still finds a way to fuck everything up for everybody. Because he single-handedly sparked the flame that would lead to the annihilation of the Jedi and the rise of the Galactic Empire. It starts with him. He is the epicenter of it all. And I'll explain. So after the great Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi gets captured like a dingus by Count Dooku, he sends off his message to Anakin, who then in turn sends it off to the Jedi Council, and they show it to the Supreme Chancellor, and they're all gathered in his office, and they're trying to figure out what is our next course of action? Because they just discovered from Obi-Wan Kenobi's message that Count Dooku is raising an army of robots on the planet Geonosis, so they need to respond to this army with their own army. But the thing is, the Republic doesn't have their own army. They haven't had an army in a millennia. And they're trying to figure out whether or not they can get this clone army that's been sitting on the side. But the thing is, the Supreme Chancellor cannot approve the creation of the clone army without approval from the Senate. So he's like, okay, so we need someone to either let all the senators approve of the army, or better yet, why not give me emergency power? This has always been something that bothered me. Why can't all of the senators just come to an agreement that they need the army? Why do they need to give the emperor, or not the emperor, I'm sorry, the Supreme Chancellor emergency power? They all agree that we need an army. Isn't that approval enough to create the army? Why give him emergency power? It makes no sense. The writing, again, it's weak. It makes no sense. This film is terrible. But anyway, so he's like, we need someone to give me emergency power so I can create this army instead of just getting the approval of the Senate. But who could we use to convince the Senate to give me this power? Oh man, if only Senator Amidala was here, we could really use her help and manipulate. I mean, you know, she's very helpful, very persuasive. And they cut to Jar Jar just giving this concerned look, and I'm like, no, 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 no!
Senator Jello Belligan, in response to this direct threat to the Republic, Misa proposed that the Senate give immediately emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
And so, through the power of his persuasive rhetoric, Jar Jar Binks, representative of Naboo, convinces the entire Senate of the Republic to give Supreme Chancellor Palpatine emergency power in this time of crisis. Not only is this idea incredibly idiotic, as if you could convince the entire Senate to give this one person emergency power and obviously he'll abuse it, why couldn't you just convince them all to vote on whether or not we should form an army of the Republic? Wouldn't that be the smarter decision? I mean, that would save us a lot of trouble down the road when this guy is not willing to give up his power. But you know what? That's just weak and lazy writing on George Lucas's behalf. The script is terrible. That's proven. But what's even more idiotic and more unbelievable is the fact that a buffoon of a character like Jar Jar Binks could convince the entire Senate on anything. I mean, listen to the way the guy talks. Would you take this guy serious at all? Misa think you need to give me some emergency power in this time of Misa need because I am Misa important to the plot. If that guy ever was in any type of council trying to convince us to do something, I say, fuck you. I'm not gonna do anything you say. I don't trust a damn thing you do because your actions show that you don't make smart decisions. You don't do anything intelligent. Why would I believe you ever? Ever? What has Jar Jar ever done in the franchise that would give him this power of persuasion over everybody? There was no hint of this ever in episode 1. He's not a delegator. He's a fucking buffoon. He got lucky. He literally just got lucky. But that's not even the biggest issue here. The biggest issue is the fact that not only did he convince the entire Senate to give the Supreme Chancellor emergency power, but because of this action, because of him convincing the Senate to do this incredibly idiotic thing, which, by the way, I was very surprised that he was able to persuade them so easily. Like, they all were just unanimously on board, like, yeah, fuck those separatists, let's just all get together, give the power to the Supreme Chancellor, let's form this army. Say what you must about how idiotic their decisions are, but hey, at least they get shit done. If only our representatives in our Senate could be as efficient. Ooh! That one measly action that seemed benign at first caused a domino effect that would lead to the rise and creation of the Galactic Empire. Because now that the Supreme Chancellor, or we should just be calling him what he truly is now, the Emperor, has all the power, he's gonna abuse the ever-loving shit out of it and manipulate his way to the creation of it all and lead to the annihilation of the Jedi through Order 66. So, again, if you want to know who's solely responsible for the creation of the Galactic Empire, who terrorized the entire galaxy and caused the annihilation of all the Jedis, you need to look no further than the biggest, most malicious villain ever in the Star Wars franchise, Jar Jar Binks. And there you go.